Hello there, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this delightful Thursday over here on Huetopia, community channel for BIMPOC by BIMPOC. You are joining us for our bi-weekly Thursday, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern time, EST time, game roulette. Tonight, essentially, we use this sort of little show to just try and give a little bit of attention to some of the smaller kind of games, little good 2-hour chunk of delicious indie and or other games that are just delightful. Tonight, of course, we will be playing Quest RPG in a little one-shot that I've devised that I'm calling Mystery at Brookhaven Manor. And we have some delightful people who are here with me tonight as players, facilitators of chaos, whatever other term you would like to use for the people that I'm sure will not cause me a headache in some capacity. So I believe that covers a lot of different things. Oh, before I carry on, before I forget, this show, which is delightful as always, is now bi-weekly, Thursdays at this time slot, 9 to 11 p.m. EST. Same week as Kania. It will now alternate on Thursdays with Palette, which is our other show here at Huetopia, which is a variety talk show highlighting creators in gaming, holding space for different panel discussions. So keep that in mind if you're looking to catch a few more of these kinds of shows. So, with that being said, let's do a quick introduction, everyone. Just name and person you will be playing tonight. So let's go around and let's start with the veritable Kupo of delightfulness, Gemma.
What? I'm first? Okay.
First time for everything.
Oh, I see what you did there. Hello, everyone. My name is, I go by Kupo Knight around the interwebs, but you can call me Kupo. And tonight this is where we introduce our characters, yeah?
Just say name, pronouns. That's it. Name of character.
Okay.
I'll give you you'll get more formal introduction later.
Okay, and I will be playing Dawn, and their pronouns are they, them.
Excellent. To the delightful, wonderful Ting.
Hi, I'm Ting, and tonight I'm playing Aloysius Wellington III, he, him.
This name is gonna kill me. Ray, the ever lovely and wonderful, why don't you take over?
Hello, I am Ray, and I will be playing Delora Kine, she, her pronouns.
Fantastic. And last but not least, the fantastic, the wonderful, the alluring Adam Ali.
Hello, my name is Adam Ali. My pronouns are he, him, and I'll be playing Rahul, and his pronouns are he, him too.
Fantastic. So, with the bit of time that we have, let's get right into it. You are all a group to set up the sort of context and scenario you're jumping into, everyone. You've been invited. An old friend of the party, a benefactor perhaps even, depending on what ways maybe each of you have had interactions with him, goes by the name of Arthur Brookhaven. He lives in a rather secluded, high-up mansion, manor, whatever your word you'd like to use for a massive house perched on the top of a winding, sloping hill. Massive row of gardens and hedge maze, perfectly decorated, curated, all of that. It's a dark evening, the moon high above, light caressing across all of the planets. Massive double doors, front of this pristine, opulent household. There's a quaint sense of shadow and light bending back and forth, hanging over the entrance to this home, as you are ushered in by a curious individual who gives the name Nathaniel Greytail, who is best described as bipedal humanoid foxfolk. Simply stands there, opens the door, and says, "I presume that you are all the last of the guests the Master Brookhaven was calling for. Please, welcome. Come on in." and you are led in to a foyer. Massive, bright red, orange, and yellow chandelier up above. Marble, stone, pristine and perfect. Walls decorated with various portraits, various bits of tapestries and artwork. Much of it with certain kind of arachnid-like details and something like fungal flora in some of its patterns. The owner of said materials must be someone who appreciates it, as there's quite a strong motif among even the massive vases and jars and other things that are just on display all around you. And you see that there are 3 other individuals waiting in the foyer. You see a tall, very thin and lanky individual in this perfectly pure white long dress. Her wings seem to shroud and meld into this long flowing dress that just drapes across the floor. Around her collar, almost a mantle of gold and red. A face giving a curious look as her head slightly cocks to the side at a somewhat unsettling angle as her feathery skin just bristles a little bit as this owl folk turns to stare at all of the curious individuals here. While quite beautiful, she perhaps is nothing compared to the level of, I guess the right word is dandiness, that the other individual has, as you see behind them a massive display of tail feathers, almost like purple eyes just staring, dotted with long tips and boundaries of green, as this very beautiful, very long, purple feathered and long-necked peacock folk stares also with a cane. Now, she does not appear to look at you because she seems to be in the midst of conversation with the 3rd individual. Very light green-skinned individual, pair of very prominent tusks, a exquisite, perfectly gentlemanly-like outfit, button-up shirt, deep maroon purples, the nice white undershirt, a pair of half-moon spectacles on his face. His hands appear furiously at work writing down everything in this massive journal, and you just overhear words like, "Ah, yes, I've come back from traveling from quite a long ways. I have seen many a things, and I wonder if Mr. Brookhaven has heard of my discoveries, or has possibly even, perhaps the threat he's facing is something similar to what I've dealt with." Very long, well-maintained facial hair with a slight goatee, long brown hair. An orcish individual, dressed almost like a statesman or perhaps a detective of some kind. It's hard to tell. The outfit is quite nice, but even he, in the midst of furiously riding and chatting with this peacock individual, turns, says, "Aha, I see there are more people who are here. Now, come here, all of you. No one be bashful. Come. Tell me, who are all your names? I must know. And as this very charming, very muscly and burly and well-mannered and well-dressed orcish individual comes up to you, what does he see to each of the 4 of you? Whoever would like to take in turn to describe yourselves. What do they see for your outfits? And feel free to be as elegant or fancy as you'd like, because this was a nice dinner party as well. That was the initial advertisement, even though you're looking into a mystery. Be dandy. Be great. Be extravagant.
I'll go first then, I guess.
It's like, who's going
Like,
first?
who's gonna, and I'm like, oh crap, okay.
I was just like, oh my god.
So, what this individual sees is a dark brown skinned, human, mostly human looking person, or looking wholly human, with the largest, most perfectly sculpted afro on her head. Like it's perfectly rounded, complements her face super duper well, just fantastic. She has on a long black dress and a cape that falls to the floor behind her as well. And she has on like these old perfectly these old rounded glasses. They're golden color. They have a gold wire frame. And the glasses, they look pretty, like they look like they're pretty old, but they're very well maintained. So, and they have like the hook, the the hook around the ears instead of like regular glasses. They have the hook. And so she puts on this radiant smile and she gives a bow and she says, yes, I am Delora Kine. You may have heard of me as my stage name, the Magnificent Doe.
Why, I am blessed. Alden Galehart at your service. It is a pleasure to meet such a well-regarded and well-renowned individual as yourself.
Thank you.
It's like he's being very formal, but you also spot like his right hand is just going. It looks like there's a notebook attached to his belt on the side, and he's just writing down things offhand. He's not paying attention. He's just like, he seems like he keeps information very close to the chest, so to speak, or in this case, close to the waist. Delora Kine, it's a pleasure. And to the rest of our fellow attendees, who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
So Dawn is probably considered not dressed for the occasion. They're 6 foot tall, shock of white hair, with dark brown skin, vibrant green eyes. They're dressed in very dark, form-fitting attire, so maybe it's because it's dark and like black clothing, it kind of looks more formal, but if you just look at the outfit, it's very more casual compared to the debutante look of everyone else in the foyer. It's almost, the top is almost like a form-fitting sleeveless like trench coat, because the bottom kind of trails to the feet. And they what you do notice, besides the shock of white hair, as if that wasn't a shock enough, you see burn marks on the side of their face. They have fingerless gloves, but you can see that the left hand is very has the severe burn marks. And they kind of have a carefree grin going around, like looking, and wow, it's definitely been a while since I've been in this kind of party. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to. Hope it's okay. I'm dressed like this.
My dear fellow attendee, you look exquisite. Should anyone speak otherwise, I will be the first one to deal with them. You look ravishing. Let no one tell you otherwise.
Thank you.
And to my other two fellow attendees.
I give like a half bow, because I'm quite the noble myself. My name's Rahul. He's wearing very fitted trousers, and a very nice jacket. He's covered in like dark colors, but they're still colors, so like deep green and deep blue. And he moves with he knows where he's going, and he gives the crowd like a cocky smirk and says, it's a real pleasure to meet you.
It is a pleasure to meet you. And you do see, off the corner of your eye, Rahul, you do see that there, while she is trying to hide it, the peacock folk individual is sort of like keeping her eyes darted away from you, and it's just sort of like, but it's clear enough to your discerning eyes that she's trying to look away from you, but there's a very faint red around the feathery area around her face. Pleasure to see a man with manners, Alden continues, and to our last individual.
Aloysius removes his traveling cloak and holds it out. We're waiting for someone to take it, and he's sort of clearing his throat. And he stands 5'10", very well sculpted hair, like he paid well over 100 gold for it. Fulsome cheeks, and standing very upright with a perfect posture, and wearing a blue colored jacket over a fitted tunic, like just the whatever is in fashion right now.
You do see the foxfolk butler, Nathaniel Greytail, just come by, and he fetches the cloak to be pulled away. And you hear Alden.
Thank you.
You are a man of most refined taste. Your hair is exquisite, and I look forward to chatting with you ever further to know what your story is.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure is all mine. And you hear Nathaniel Greytail sort of clears up. Dinner will begin shortly. The master will be waiting for all of you in the dining room with basic pleasantries, and then appetizers and the first of the courses will begin coming out shortly. Feel free to introduce yourselves, chat. The master will be waiting. Sort of slinks back very slyly. Sort of red, orangey kind of fur, just like very well kept together. The ears seem almost too rounded in terms of how well they've actually been, the fur and everything for it has been aligned. Very nice, deep color robes did I give Greytail. A little bit more of a deeper, more like blood red, and kind of slight, almost magenta overtones to it.
Rahul runs his hand over his coiffed hair and, shall we?
I think we shall. And you hear the peacock attendee is who looks a little bit flustered, trying to get her words together.
I look directly at her and wink slowly and say, "Wonderful, I'll lead the way."
You certainly will. And you see the owl folk sort of roll very, instead of just rolling her eyes, she sort of very quickly spins her head around like a full 360 and then rolls her eyes. Selfie, you can't fall in love with someone else again. It's like, Renee is quite gorgeous. Yes. You said that about the last three men. Let's get on. I'm sure Arthur has something important. That's why he called us here.
Is Renee the owl?
Renee is the owl.
Oh.
Selfie, the peacock, is speaking to the owl individual and saying, Renee.
Did you hear the way he greeted us? I think he's actually heard of me. That's amazing. And you all, we've been traveling. You all know that this uppity persona that she's put on, it's a lie. Like it's an absolute lie. Like she is not used to this. She wants to be famous, but no way. Like
It's like outside exterior, I am composed. I am collected. Inside, fangirling energy, like full fangirl energy.
Darling, I'm sure everyone's heard of you.
oh, I hope so. I just want to make an impact.
They put a hand on Dolores' shoulder and just like, isn't that great? Pretty soon people will be begging to have you in for performances.
I'm gonna be gracing stages all over. I can't wait. Oh my gosh. She grew up in like the smallest of towns, by the way. The tiniest of towns.
Oh no! Oh, small town girl magician. Oh no! My heart already hurts from how much I love these characters.
Be sure to charge properly for admission to your shows. You're worth it.
Yeah, you can talk to Aloysius and Rahul for that. They know how to charge. They know the money stuff.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, okay. Food. Okay. Food, right? Food's now,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Food. So you start walking, and Rahul, as you are walking, you do see that Selfie is occasionally stealing glances, but you also notice that Renee, the owl folk, is like, because the feathering is like quite deep white and melds in, like her features are extremely hard to read, but you do occasionally see like a very like almost small smile in the direction of Delora. And also, pretty much to everyone else but you. But like Rahul doesn't care. It's not me, so it doesn't matter. But you arrive. You're taken into a massive dining room. Another bright circular chandelier, this time lighting a long table, probably capable of seating anywhere from like 10 to 15 people. There's a roaring fireplace with altar on top of it, various candelabras and such filled. There's more whites, blacks, and sort of amber brown toned, sort of like wood kind of patterns to the bottom of it, to the flooring and such. Many carpets of various striped sort of designs. There's portraits of a few different individuals, and on one wall, it's almost like a whole lineage of someone of a similar looking person. And there's one that looks the most recent in terms of the styling. And below that portrait, you see a very tall, we'll say about 6'4", elven individual. This one, deep black skin, a little bit more silver sort of undertones to it, and very cool. Veins are not varicose, but if you've ever like flexed your arm and seen like the veins actually be sort of like purple, his skin is sort of cracked in some ways, but the cracking is very beautiful. It's spiderweb like, and it's that sort of hues of like deeper purple that stand out even amidst his sort of cooler toned skin. Long, very flowing white hair that at some points you can see near the ends probably was silver at one point, but have dulled with age. And knowing his particular background, he's probably quite old in his years, probably at least a few centuries old. Long, very elegant, deep, we'll say, lavender sort of toned robes with gold lettering around sort of the collar and almost like pauldron sort of area. Just standing up with a wine glass. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to finally have all of you here. My name is Arthur Brookhaven, and it's a pleasure to see new friends and old attending. Come. Greytail will be certain to get you a drink. Whatever your heart's desire, I want you to feel comfortable and happy here. Also, as a note, very big, I believe I had a friend describe it, very big silver fox kind of energy about him. Like, he's very calm. There's no sense, while you can tell by his dress and his surroundings, he's a very prestigious background. There's no sense of arrogance. There's no sense of just pomp. There's just this very comforting, very sweet sort of voice.
I raise my glass towards him and slowly drain it.
Pleasure.
Please, pleasure's all mine.
I don't think I get to see you, so I believe that the pleasure is in fact actually mine.
I would like your highest grade wine.
I would expect nothing less of the prestigious Delora. Do I have that correct?
Yes,
I've heard of your shows. They're quite the spectacular displays.
Thank you.
I've lived for nearly 675 years, and still I thought myself incapable of being surprised, and then I attended one of your shows quite a while ago. And
She
lo and behold,
turns away for a minute and she, oh yes, I'm glad that you feel that way. Oh my god.
Meanwhile, they have a glass of wine, but takes sips, but doesn't really. He's just kind of doing it for the social niceties.
it's more a decorum kind of thing as opposed to an actually imbibing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And to our final guest, pleasure.
A brandy, if you have it, and I'll raise a glass of the wine.
Man of good taste. Let's see if I have a bottle I've been saving for quite a good occasion. Greytail, if you would not mind. See, yes, master, I'll be certain to fetch it. Just once again, just slinks away very slyly, and just it's very, very unnerving how fast they are. But you were able to sit down, and first drinks, small plate, small little boards of charcuterie, or I believe it's the term, or however the fuck you say it, and things of that sort. Various kinds of cheeses, there's little, like, light sort of sliced veggies that seem to be almost like they're fungal in some variety, but they're very strange. Some of them look like mushroom caps, but when you mix portions of them, there's almost a caramelly kind of like taste to some of them. And then other ones, there's this very deep, chilling taste to them, and then there's this sinking in of sudden eruption of spice. And then others, there's just various massive plates of cheese, because I don't need to describe cheese for it to be good. I need to be
Hell
like,
yeah.
what's your favorite cheese? It's there.
I think Dawn gets those like mushroom caps kind of things, and like is trying each and every one, but then after like noting the different flavors and tastes, they kind of take out a vial from their pack and kind of put like pieces of it in the vial and then kind of stow it away, and like you can just see them like thinking on like possibilities.
See
Like galaxy brain equations.
I was going calculation equation.
Yeah, the calculation brain.
But that works too. But you do see Arthur like is taking a sip in the middle of that, but does one of those like peers over glasses kind of thing, because you do see in the midst of this has put on a set almost kind of like cat's eye glasses, but there's the parts where sort of the eye parts are. There's little arachnid decorations right there. And you see, if you would care to know the palliative properties of these, would be more than happy to speak with you later, Dom.
Oh, you would? That would be great. I have never tasted anything like this before. I would really appreciate that. Well, may I have your name?
It's the person who you would assume is the head of the manor. It's Arthur Brookhaven.
Oh, okay.
He would have taken the time because I hadn't stated it. It is Arthur Brookhaven, making sure he does. He does give his proper name.
Okay.
But food is served. He goes around very amiable, chatting with anyone. And if there's anyone that folks would like to talk with before more of the proper dinner comes in, feel free. Now is the time.
So do we know like the reason for the party, or he hasn't?
You know Arthur has mentioned in a private missive to, I'm going to say now, Delora, because I feel like that's the most appropriate person to get the attention would be Delora. That he did bring up in a private missive to you an invite to the party, but he left like sort of in a PS sort of note.
Okay.
I fear something malicious might be after me or might be causing distress around my household. And I would like you and any friends you would care to bring help in solving the problem.
Okay. So
you know like this is a quote unquote like dinner party, but there's also like the party's reason for mainly being there is an element of like what is going on with him.
Okay.
Like he's being kind of hush about it. Like there's just a little bit of like probably Rahul, and actually Aloysius would probably pick up on this the most. He's given or at least Rahul would pick it up given the noble background. You can tell he has this element of like conducting himself very properly, being very sweet towards pretty much everyone. Very hard to tell whether flirtatious or otherwise. I'll let the players decide that one. I'm sure they'll pick the chaotic option. But there is an element where you can tell it's maybe a little forced. Like he's trying to hide maybe a little something.
Considering why we're here, I'm gonna like disguised as making eyes at everyone. I'm going to like examine all of the guests and Arthur himself. Who looks like the most on edge? Who looks like they've got something to hide? Who looks like they might be easily manipulable?
Okay. I would like you to roll me a d20.
Yeah.
And we'll determine what the outcome of that is.
That was a 14.
That is a success. So no one notices that you are looking at them. You are rather trained in masking your own behaviors as well. Or at least are rather capable of doing so. No one seems... There's not a more than what anyone else is having, like slightly off-putting vibe, but you do sense everyone who is attending, there is an element of like, this is sweet, but kind of get to the point. Like, what is it? What is bothering you? And especially Alden seems to be just like going around the room, and he's just like, he's not being like discreet about it at all. He's like looking like near the corners of the tables. He's looking on the walls and everything. Like he's just like documenting all of this. Like you swear he had only about a tenth of a journal filled up, and by the end of like the first hour, he's got maybe a quarter of it filled up now. Like he's just furiously taking notes the entire time. And you notice any moment he's not, it looks like the quill is just going on its own.
When he crosses my eyes, I stare directly at him and give him a big, wide smile.
To Alden or to Arthur?
Alden. I know he's looking, and I find it amusing.
Okay, so Arthur is going around the room, correct? And
Arthur, he's just smoozing with everyone, basically. He's doing usual dinner party. Hello there.
okay.
I am the host.
I am going to go up to him and say, Mr. Captain? Lord Brookhaven, can I get a quick tour of your premises, please? And then I'm just like kind of giving him the eyes and hoping that he picks up because he sent me the missive that I would like to talk to him alone. Or
Yes,
you know.
he does. Why don't we just step out for a moment? Dinner is about to commence in but a moment, but why don't I show you something quite wonderful?
Yes, of course, please.
So you step out of the main dining room back into the foyer, and you do take a note that that he does take a moment to chat with you, and he begins talking out loud, and then he lets out a very like sort of hearty chuckle as it's like, oh, you are quite witty and quite wonderful, and then his voice just switches to a much more like pointed sort of tone. And in the midst of, he's been chatting just for a couple minutes, and he has noted like out loud that there are 3 spaces in the household. There's an observatory, a terrarium space, and an aviary. That he's just given the usual details of like this mansion was founded over probably elven aging is weird. I have to scale up everything. Like 2,500 years ago. That's probably somewhere in that span. Each of them live at least a few hundred years. It's somewhere in there. Probably have to add a few thousand, but fuck it. But you know, it's. Thank you for taking the time to answer as quickly as you did.
Of course. So you were a bit short in your correspondence. Do you have any ideas of where this oddness is coming from, or?
To be frank, I'm uncertain. There's been something's riled up creatures in the aviary where I keep some of the more odd of my pets. The terrarium, which is normally dealt with calmly by some of the groundskeepers, is perfectly peaceful up until as of late. Some of the more aggressive plants are normally tended to quite regularly, but the groundskeepers appear to have been disappearing as of late. And
disappearing?
I at least, or perhaps they've quit, I don't know. I've tried my very best to treat everyone here as best I can and ensure that they are set for later years in terms of employment and such, but perhaps some have just quit all of a sudden. But I've never known. Tyvel is a good friend of mine. He's often come to work over in the observatory as well, and I don't believe I've seen him in over a week. He's almost daily in his routines to make sure that the observatory's mechanisms are working perfectly. But he seems to have disappeared, and the only real clue amongst all of it has been some sort of strange, wet, sticky substance found at each of the locations. I'm uncertain of its nature. But I'm worried. I'm worried that something is coming after me next. So I've brought people here, hopefully, who have some sense of what might be going on.
So all of the people here have they had access to this room, or these are people that you are hoping that'll assist
Perhaps
with help? Okay.
Again, I don't want to worry everyone right away, but I wanted people to at least feel comfortable and settled, stomachs full, all of that, before unleashing any sort of upsetting news. You're really not the best state to be in, to be on an empty stomach while receiving distressing, potentially life-threatening news.
No, I think it's important that it gets solved as soon as possible. I mean, I can't really eat now that I know this is going on.
You certain?
And her stomach starts growling a little bit. No, I really mean it. No, I can't eat right now. No.
Delora, please do not hold yourself to an unnecessary level of refinement just on my behalf. I am quite aware. I have heard tales of you and some of your aspirations, and perhaps as additional help, if you're willing to help me with this problem, I might be able to put in a few good words for you. I still have some clout in other more prestigious circles.
Thank you so much. Oh my god, I would love that. That'd be perfect. Oh my god, I'd get everywhere. This is gonna open so many. Of course, yes. After. Yes, after.
It is the bare minimum I can offer you. I will, of course, offer your friends additional compensation, but currently we probably should get back. Otherwise, Alden will probably be searching my fireplace. He's a rather determined individual. Quite reputable, but very determined.
He seems nice.
He is quite pleasant. We used to date on some occasion, but such things happen.
Oh, what
Such passions
happened?
fade. Passing of time, losing of interest, new loves, other things. It happens.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
He's a charming man, though a little consumed more in his work than anything else.
I can see that.
It's his best and worst quality. Shall we?
Yes, of
And
course.
it's right about this time that everyone starts seeing. I'm going to give you the real world equivalent of what the foods essentially are, but you see there's various other servants of the household come by. And has anyone ever been to like Brazilian steakhouse before?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yes, you see various cuts of meat that are various kinds of sausages and such. There are potatoes with various kinds of spices and things
Do
of
we
that sort.
get
served.
do we get the switches, the red light, green light, to know if we're done or not?
You get as much as you want.
Hell yeah.
There's,
Is there grilled pineapple?
yes, because it's my world, and yes.
With cinnamon.
Yes. There's also these kind of very sweet, kind of like fizzy kind of drinks. You don't know. You've heard of it. Some might be called a soda from some parts.
Fantasy
Arthur,
pop.
Aloysius will pretend that he knows what they are, what it is.
it's like interning. It's like, dude, you freaking sick. I've never fucking had this
I
before.
definitely put some of this soda into one of my vials. How is this bubbly substance made?
Make sure that Dawn, are you familiar with common substance by the name of emientos? Don't let those go in the pop.
No.
Just so you know, don't. It's for the best. Appreciate. I just need to do food stuff, and everyone just suddenly breaks in like 10 seconds. It's great. But the evening carries on, and it's exquisite meal. There is copious amounts of it. Everyone tucks in quite heartily. There is many meaningful look given in the direction of various party members. Many of them towards Rahul. And make sure I have the name correct. I think it was Selfie. Selfie has, for whatever reason, ended up sitting next to you, just by happenstance.
Who'd have thought?
Who would have thought, you know?
What a coincidence.
It's fate.
It's fate. Fate, thirst, whichever one wins out in the end.
Tomato.
After a certain point, the two are synonymous.
I absolutely engage her in conversation. Well, what is your opinion on everyone else here? I'm so curious.
Well, they are. Well, it's a rather mixed variety of people. They seem all different specialties and skills.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mainly more of a dancer myself, and I'm normally not used to being around groups of people for this period of time, so I'm perhaps a little nervous. She's trying to avoid your look the entire time, by the way. She's just like full, like,
Oh, Rahul is going to like casually lean on the table and look as fascinated as possible, but quietly like steer the conversation to her thoughts on the others and any gossip she might be hearing.
Well, far be it from me, but Renee is one of the best merchants that's ever existed. Founded a whole guild by herself. She doesn't like talking herself up more than she has to, because she sort of assumes people already know, because it's just the kind of thing people should know.
Fascinating.
She has a lot of, reason for Arthur to, if Arthur were to ever disappear for some reason, oh, she would have so much to gain from him going away. It would be so wonderful.
Would she? How so?
Oh, he's quite a charming presence. She's like fumbling over her words because she's finally looked up at you, and she's now just like, like looking away. It's like, well, he has quite a lot of sway with many of the merchants, and she's a rather cruel woman. At times, with pricings and such, doesn't always take care of people who work under her sway. And you sort of see Renee just sort of, the head just kind of like does the weird owl, like head cock turn. Just like,
Oh, well, enough about that. Tell me, like, I notice, I like lean in even further and conspiratorially say, well, enough about that. Tell me about Oren. What's he like?
about, do you mean Alden?
Alden, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, he's quite decorated. Far too talkative and far too focused on his work, but he's quite the investigator. He's one of the best we've ever had.
An investigator?
Yes, he likes to look into things, both arcane, foul, fiendish at times as well.
How did you three get invited here?
Oh, I imagine Arthur's just trying to get people to... He just likes to schmooze with all of the fancy sort of folk. I'm not certain why I'm here. I'm simply a representative for a dance company. To be fair, I imagine the company would like to see Arthur go away, but I'm rather fond of him.
Now, why would they want that?
Arthur is also has a lot of sway in arts communities. He's, if you had not noticed, she sort of just gestures towards the foyer. He appreciates quite a lot of things in fine arts, and he's quite a patron of many. And as such, there are those who have been slightly slighted at times by him, and those who perhaps are not as fond of him supporting some of the programs that he does. They see some of the older ways as unnecessary when modern sort of takes should replace them. I am one who has simply tried to maintain some of the older dancing styles among some of us bird folk, and Arthur has been rather supportive of me and others.
Oh, imagine he has. Who wouldn't be?
Just like crumbling and like being near you. She's just like losing it ever so slowly. Or rapidly. A little of both.
I know Alden is scribbling down the notebook quite a lot. I'd love to get a look at it. Wouldn't you?
I don't know if you'd ever be able to pry it out of his hands, to be honest. He's rather attached to it, and he has quite a lot of them.
I mean, well, if someone were to distract him... How about this? If I come up with a plan, he'd just help me out a little bit.
Done? She's like fully like given a full look in your face, and it's just been like, this is the most ridiculous comparison, but if anyone's ever seen Zoolander with the Magnum look, it's one of those sorts. Yes, exactly. It's the reaction people have in response to that of like just starstruck. She's having one of those responses right now. She's just like,
Oh, I know it. And I lean off the table, lean back in my chair, and say, "Glorious."
Has Alden been eating much, or
Alden's
has he been-
he's done the thing that I imagine I myself would be doing at a dinner party, which is finding all of the snacks and just sort of carrying what he can in his hands while he's just talking and moving around to people. I like food. People should understand this at this point. So he's just doing that, but he's keeping an eye on everyone. Like every now and then he's like shooting a look at Delora, he's shooting a look at Dawn.
But has he been writing?
He's
more
been
than
writing the
eating?
entire time. He hasn't
Okay.
stopped.
By the way, I've definitely told all of you what Brookhaven has told me about what's going on. Like after we had that conversation, I made sure to tell all of you what he told me about the sticky residue and all that, and the 3 areas and the missing grounds, or the missing or quit groundskeepers and all that. So you all know that information as well.
I sidle over to Aloysius and put my hand on my face. You know, this doesn't really seem like a place that something bad happened, like based on that note that Delora got, right? Seems like just another posh party.
The appearances can be deceiving. Stay alert.
All right, that of course, but those missing people, that's worrisome. And then I kind of just kind of walk away, kind of observing around, but I'd like to find a kind of place that's not too crowded, but also people kind of don't take notice of a certain area.
Probably a corner of the fireplace, like right next to the side of the fireplace. It looks like Arthur, just because it's really just one side of the table because it's so long and like unnecessarily like fancy and such. So folks are kind of scattered a little bit more towards that. So you could probably be in one of the fireplace corners.
And I'd like to use one of my abilities.
Excellent. What would you like to use?
I would like to use Death Sense.
Excellent. A most appropriate decision, Master.
And I will spend, well, it's 0, but I'd like to use the 1 activation point, where I can see if there is any sentient creatures that have died nearby, and I can tell how long they have died, as well as the nature of the death.
Okay, it sense the location where any creatures died, as well as general nature. They're killed by natural causes and accident. Foul play. There is this like, it's imagine sort of like the feedback you get if you ever seen in like stuff like, was it a Magic School Bus with an echolocation, a bat sending out sonar, and then the response back, it's like a ping where in your head you just in the direction of the observatory.
My head just turns to that direction, even though you can't. There is no sight to the observatory. There's no line of sight to the observatory.
And you just hear a sound because it lets you pick up the nature of what happened as well. There's just a sound of like something was slurped up, and then you just hear the sound of something sizzling.
I think I make that face as I'm doing this, and like, but then school myself, and then kind of power walk to everyone else, and if we're together, I go, yeah, there is something weird afoot. We gotta go.
Where in where did you say it was?
Come with me. We
Okay.
gotta go to the observatory.
Okay, he did mention the observatory.
It's at this moment the lights in the dining room go out.
Oh no.
Oh,
I rush over to Arthur's side.
As you're rushing over to that side, Rahul, you just hear a and you try and reach out for where you know Arthur was. There's nothing there.
Oh no.
And you hear that same slurping noise.
Do we all hear it, or is it just Rahul since it's
Rahul heard it when it was near Arthur, but then near two of you, I'm going to say near Aloysius and then near Dawn, you also hear this slurping noise and you hear the cries from two guests. You can't quite make out the voices in the moment.
I kind of paw at Aloysius. That's a sound. That's the sound.
I pull out a small magic candle and light it as best as I can and just stick it on the table. Does it work?
It starts working. The light goes out, and you see as the light snaps on that Arthur Brookhaven is gone. And in addition to that, Renee is gone. And Selfie is gone.
Are the lights back? Are the lights back on?
No, the lights are still off.
Okay.
The only other people who are left you see are Alden Galehart, who seems to have collapsed over on the side of the table, and Nathaniel Graytail, the butler.
Well, now I suppose I rush over to Alden. Is his journal nearby by any chance?
Yes, it is.
I'm not gonna steal it because I think he'd notice, but I'm gonna drop my mimic pen right beside it so we can copy his handwriting
Excellent.
while I try and wake him up.
He's covered in this really unsettling, like blue-green sticky substance. Like it's just like it's has, if anyone's ever grown up with like the little like throwable like sticky hand things that you can like wrap around your finger.
God, those things, yeah. Yeah.
But imagine that slightly melted,
Oh.
or like the texture of like Jello. That's what it feels like. There's just scrapes of it, and as he's like rubbing it in his hands, there you hear a faint like sizzling noise, and he's just like getting it off of him quickly. It's like oh god.
I say you never look better. And I pull out like a handkerchief and hand it over to him.
Appreciate it, but what happened to everyone?
Is anyone? I know it's dark, but I kind of yell out. Is anyone hurt? I'm a I can heal.
Alden over here probably needs some attention.
And kind of make my way to Alden. So.
I want to. I mean, because we can. So we see the trail of that slimy stuff, right?
Yeah, it's gone off of him. It's headed towards the western entrance that you came in through, that would get you back into the foyer. And you also see Nathaniel Graytail is near it, as he was just sort of waiting dutifully to like receive Arthur's next command. And he's slathered in all of this as well.
I want to, just because, and see if this works, I want to use one of my abilities, Little Bird, and I want to send the bird after that trail to see how far it extends and if I can pick up any like see the creature or anything like that. I know it couldn't go that far, but as far as it can go after that trail.
Still worth checking out. So let's see, magician, little bird. Yeah, some illusory bird keeps watch. Share a link with it. You watch as you see the trail. It goes past the entrance that you came in through into the foyer, and it seems to be splitting off into one of three possible directions, into three different directions.
It splits into three different directions.
Yeah, it looks like there's a possible trail that heads in the direction that Arthur noted for the observatory, one for the terrarium, and one for the aviary.
We have an issue, I'll say, like, as I'm like seemingly super duper focused and like not currently present. The trail keeps going and it splits off into those three rooms he mentioned, going towards those three rooms he mentioned. The observatory, I think you mentioned, correct, Dawn? Should we start
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. That's where I sensed something, and that noise.
It was the same noise, right?
Yeah, that squelchy, sizzling. Blah. Let's just go. Wait. Oh, I was still trying to heal.
No, yeah. Alden looks like he got a little bit hurt by getting all of the sizzling liquid off of him. He's like, we'll have to get a new set of clothes for next time. And Greytail also appears to be somewhat like coated in a whole bunch of materials as well.
While Dawn is going through the book, taking care of Alden, I'm like now opening up his journal and pressing my dossier against it to just copy whatever's inside of it page by page.
As the pen just furiously starts going, you see various notes, substance, like something in the lines of like just essentially what someone writes down as like shorthand for a whole bunch of different things. It's like, magician, quite capable, seen her shows, has much potential, should be more confident in herself. Healer, curious origin, met before, perhaps, also cute. Seems Aloysius. I want his hair. I must make mine work like that at some point. But does not seem quite suspicious. Stingy noble, also quite attractive, but still. Possible allegiance to rival family? Consideration to be made. Must look into this more. And like there's various other like notes similar. Selfie and Renee, there's one. Exquisite dancer. Also, far too flustered, far too easily. Must consider donating more to the arts. Support the arts, kids. And then sort of going forward, Renee, also it's like merciless nature, but also quite cowardly when faced directly with problems countered before. Simply compensating for personal issues, as is quite often with folks of a prestigious background. Brookhaven, done to self? Unlikely. Not prone to bits of eccentricity beyond normal nobles' expenditures. And expenditures, there's like sub-note written within that where it's like massive birdcage, extra observatory with additional details added into it. Seems like there's a sense of like he just copies a whole bunch of just stream of consciousness thoughts and also a mix of just like trying to suss out who might actually have a decent motive.
I mean, that's pretty useful.
Yeah, and there's also like, curious substance Arthur mentioned in passing. Overheard while he was talking to Delora while keeping ear pressed against wall. Found creature before. Creature from the underground? Unlikely. Tend to be more bioluminescent. Acidic substance. where have I know I've dealt with a creature like this before, but I can't quite pin it. Greytail. Movements quite sly, quite capable.
I
Must have escaped further.
I put his journal right back where I found it, and pick up my pen and my dossier and slip it back into my pocket. So you're gonna be all right. Can I help?
Yes. I'll be fine. Don't worry. And let me see if I can find my notebook. Where's my notes? Yes, got it. Okay. Shall we?
There's another one who needs our attention over there.
Yes. Greytail.
Yeah, while Don was helping Alden, I'm gonna go over to Nathaniel and scrape off some of the stuff with the butter knife. I'm not gonna touch it with my hands.
Yeah, you see it start as you're trying to use the butter knife. It's just like but seems to like backs away and very quickly like starts getting it off the robes and like seems to like go behind like go behind like in a corner, like just to be like, pardon me, I will give me a moment to change.
Are you all right?
I'm quite burned. That hurt, but I should be fine.
Has this happened before? The lights going out?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Master does not normally allow such things to happen. Master, and also it is not within Master's purview to do anything of the sort. I sense something magical of some nature is afoot.
Magical, you say?
I see.
It is my only guess. Master is quite a skilled mage himself, but to be taken quite superstitiously, something must have managed to get the jump on him.
I'm gonna take that moment to cast Magic Eye.
Magic Eye.
It allows people, like a faint aura illuminates any magic and or illusions in the area.
Dance.
There's, given that everyone in the room has some level of like equipment on them, even Alden and everyone, there's kind of everyone has a faint aura of some kind. Nathaniel Greytail has something, Alden has something. Like, and you would imagine everyone who was there also would have likely had this, but there's distinct auras around every single one of you. So it's hard to tell whether it could be like an illusion or magic, but it's hard to parse out. You do see something around like Greytail and Alden as well.
So the magic, so anything that's magical will have a faint aura, but anything that's an illusion will slightly flicker. So there is a difference in what it shows.
You're right. That's a good distinction.
I don't see what a true form of whatever is an illusion, but I'll see like that. I'll be able to tell if it's an illusion or if it's just something magical. So
you do see there is a flicker around Nathaniel Greytail's form.
So you'll see I'll like cast and then I'll look towards the air and then I'll look around at everyone and then I'll like look at Nathaniel and then you see me like my eyes squint and then I'll just walk up to him with my eyes squint and I'll say, why do you have an illusion on you?
If you must know, snaps fingers. You see that the outfit is definitely not in as good a condition as it was before. I forgot to actually clean my outfits. I have to appear proper for Master Brookhaven. They are quite a mess. I took a tumble through one of the gardens up front.
What were you doing? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm perfectly fine. I'm simply just trying to maintain decorum as is necessary for an esteemed servant of the Brookhaven household. That is all. I would prefer my attempts at maintaining that not be ruined.
Does he seem believable? Like,
Roll
is
me
there
d20.
is there any like tell or anything?
Roll me d20. Let's see how it reads.
I'm sorry, my rolls are just awful normally. That was a 6.
So you do notice something. He does seem to have a reason for why he's doing the illusion, but it's not that one. But you also start hearing something above,
Uh-oh.
and the light on the candle goes out.
Oh no. I will. Oh, I at that exact moment that I hear that sound, can I like do magic tricks to make a quick light to see if I see whatever it is really quickly, like get a glimpse of whatever it is that makes that noise?
You turn around and you watch as this is sort of all happening like in succession as you do that, and you're talking to Nathaniel Greytail. Like Raoul, you see Alden like have one of those like light bulb moments where he's like, wait a minute, I know what this is. This is and then the light goes out, and in that moment you just hear
The moment the light goes out, I reach out, I like slip my hand to a pocket, pull out a push dagger, and stab into whatever's there.
Yep. And so roll me d20 to see what the result of that is. But Delora, you're going to see what Rahul tries to attack.
Oh boy.
13.
So you successfully manage to stick the dagger into something. Where? Let's see. Yep.
Could I also make it attack?
Yeah, I imagine both of you.
Can I do a sneak attack at it?
Oh, right, because that sneak attack, it procs off of it going off of someone else. Sneak attack in the system is absurd. It is actually one of the most broken abilities in this whole system. It is actually very, as written, it is quite fun and also absurd. Yeah, once per round, your by foe attacks creature other than, yeah. So whatever you want to spend the ability point on, are you just doing a regular attack, spending the 1 point for?
Yeah.
Okay, so roll the d20 to make the attack, but I'll tell you what Delora and Rahul see, and when Aloysius see, as both of them make their attacks.
A 19.
That's a success. So that's a success. And Rahul, yours was it 13?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So both of you manage at the same time to stick your hands into what it's hard to, for a second you think you've just hit air, but you watch as your hands struggle for a second to pull out of, it's a very sticky substance that forms part of a larger tendril. And you realize maybe a better way is not quite sticky given the way its tendrils moving. Perhaps gelatinous is a better way of putting it.
Delightful.
As you see a massive cube-shaped creature just hanging on the ceiling, just various tendrils coming out of it. And
is everyone else in there in the cube?
Yep.
Do we see?
Yeah, you see that it's big enough that you see everyone else from the party is just like,
No. Okay.
Also, Delora, it's right at that moment as well that you hear behind you.
Great.
You and your friends are really going to make this difficult, aren't you?
Oh, wonderful.
And the illusion changes again because he's right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this fiendish looking individual. Full scale mail armor, a long spear, bright red wings. Could have just had fun in the other rooms. Could have just made this an enjoyable evening for me, but you had to go poking around. So we'll deal with this now. And he turns the long spear towards you.
Great.
This, by the way, both Raul and Aloysius, you both did, because you both succeeded, you dealt 4 damage total to between each of you towards this massive cube creature whose tendrils are currently just sticking out all over the place.
Sweet.
So, with that being the case, and with Greytail's disguise being dropped in that moment, we're switching over into what's called an action scene, which this particular one is going to be combat.
Perfect.
Nice.
Now, the way this works for folks who are not used to playing in Quest, you all get an action and a movement. No initiative order, just go whenever you feel like you want to build off of each other's things, or whenever you think you can try something. And also, because it's a fancy-ass dining room, I'm going to because there are 4 of you, at any point, anyone can claim there is one certain item in the room that you think makes sense narratively for them to have been in the dining room. And if you want to try and do something with that, I'll let it go. So with that being the case, you have a cube creature somewhere nearby that is... also, there are 4 distance categories. So the way that this works is that you have either immediate, so melee range, nearby, a little bit farther, in reach, more like range kind of attacks, and too far. Right now, Rahul, Aloysius, you are in immediate range of the cube. Dawn, you are nearby to the cube. Delora, you are in range of the cube, but in immediate to this fiendish individual. So with that being the case, what do you all decide to do? You each get a turn, and then the enemy will get a turn. Doesn't matter what it is, just fire off whoever wants to go take the initiative, quote unquote, in this.
I want to try to... I don't know, I mean, because it doesn't say I have to roll for it or anything, but I want to mesmerize Nathaniel, quote unquote.
Okay. We'll go over to that.
So he can't... but I don't know if it'll work, because it says he's dazzle a nearby commoner or a minion. So I don't know if that counts for him. But if it works...
You can try it. It's your call if you want to go through with it. You don't know what level he is.
Yeah, I'll try it. So, yeah, I'll try it.
It'll tell you something regardless.
Yeah.
So let's see. Mesmerize, that's in Magician, correct?
Mm-hmm. Specifically under the Misdirection tab.
Misdirection. There's mind control. There it is. Yeah, Mesmerize. You try and invoke this mesmerizing effect on him, and it just does not seem to do anything to him. He's like, dear, I've seen much better tricks. You still have movement if you want to move away from him.
I'll move away from him. Yeah. I'll move away from him too.
Since I'm nearby,
To the cube, yeah.
I would still... Or where is... there's 2, right? The cube and...
Cube and the Fiend.
The Fiend.
Essentially. Yeah. Fiend is farther back, closer to the exit. Rahul
so
and Aloysius. You're
close to
you're
that.
kind of like smack dab in the middle, where if
Okay.
I'll say, yeah, because you're nearby to both of them. It's just Delora was over checking on Greytail. That's why she's closer to him, because she was the most immediate, whereas Rahul and Aloysius were trying to be mindful of Alden.
Okay. I would... I'd like to get in range to the cube.
Okay.
Close
so
enough to touch it.
Okay, so that'll put you in immediate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you use your movement to get into immediate. So you want to try and touch it.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to I want to touch it and use my ability Nox to give it an effect that I hope it would. I want it to feel like the worst nausea ever, and hopes maybe with its biology, not the nausea, whatever will pop up will spit out the people.
I love this idea so much. That Nox is harm. That's one. Yeah, touch a creature. So nausea. Okay. You see the whole cube just go.
I really hate using this ability sometimes.
Touch it, and you
Yeah, I'm
start
like-
seeing it's starting to like quiver and quake, like if you could imagine, like the sound you have to, if you imagine like what you think your stomach is doing whenever you have an upset stomach, where it's going.
That's the visual of it.
That's the visual of what the
Awesome.
cube is doing.
Great.
Okay,
Awesome.
so that's Dawn, Rahul, Aloysius.
I'm gonna like swiftly. I'm trained to do this. I switch my push dagger to my left hand, reach into my strap again, and pull out a tiger's claw. So it looks like two rings on one side, and on the other side, there's a band with 4 different spikes to be hidden by the fingers. It's made for like ripping and tearing at things. It's an assassin's weapon because Rahul's not a very nice person, and I'm gonna jump onto the dining room table and like start clawing at this thing as best as I can.
All right, roll for d20 to see what happens with that attack with straight up an assassin's weapon.
17.
17,
Lucky
that is a
rolls today.
success. It's like a huge chunk of this cube just goes, and you see like the arm of Selfie, the peacock girl, just like she looks like she's trying to get out of it. It's getting there.
If I can help her, I will.
Yeah, unfortunately, not for this turn, but we'll see what happens. Aloysius, you're the last one up.
So with a sneak attack, do I have to hold my action and wait?
No. You don't have to hold your action or any of that kind of stuff. So sneak attack, just every round you get to activate that, so long as it makes an attack on someone else is the condition for it.
Got it.
That's it.
So I'm gonna roll back and pull out my hand crossbow and shoot it at the demon.
Oh, at the fiend.
At the fiend.
Oh,
yeah.
so you're gonna back up away from the cube and then just pull back and take a shot at the fiend?
Yeah.
Okay, so roll for that attack to see if it lands.
9.
That is a tough choice. You succeed in your action, but there is a cost. Would you like something to happen to you, or would you like something to happen to Delora?
To me.
Okay. Crossbow, the little like arrow shot fires through, and it does the 2 damage on the fiend. But you are a little off kilter when firing off this shot, and you stumble and end up like crashing right into the center of the table, and some of the wood like bends in and gets trapped around your leg. You will not be able to move next turn, unfortunately.
Okay.
The cube is you're basically like knocked over, kind of prone to the ground, and your quote unquote like movement would just be like getting up, so you can't move this turn or next round. So that was Aloysius. Now it is both of their turns. Rahul, seeing as you were the last one to give a stab to this thing, the creature, the big cube thing, just starts going. And it is not going to make attacks, but it is going to try and use its ability Engulf. So we're going to see what happens to Rahul. That is a 7, so it succeeds, but there is a downside for it. So, Rahul, who would you like to trade places with in the cube?
Oh, well, Sally's very nice. Renee's a person I don't know. Clearly, it's going to be Arthur.
Arthur like suddenly like he's just enough conscious, he reaches out, and as your claw digs into the creature, like one of its tendrils just goes and just like yanks you in. But as you're doing that, the force that it does that, it's still, because it's far less mass than it was before, it pulls you into it, but Arthur manages to fall out of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sweet.
yep. So
So could I sneak attack?
yeah,
now?
yeah, because you're still within range of
To
the
shoot my
cube as well.
crossbow at it.
From the ground. It's like
Yeah.
ground shot. See what happens. So roll that and see what happens with that.
A 9 again.
Tough choice. Do you want something to happen to Arthur? Or do you want something to happen to you?
Ooh, let's go with Arthur this time.
Okay. You fire the shot and it manages to hit, but it's such a like almost blubbery kind of mass. It goes and the arrow also just digs into the shoulder of Arthur Brookhaven. So Arthur will also take this damage.
Sorry.
Sorry, didn't mean to do that. It's not great.
So with all this movement and falling down, like the skies, like the full cheeks are like falling off. It's revealing the face underneath.
Oh my god, there's the skies. Oh god damn it, Ting. I was not expecting that. It is now also the Fiend's turn. The Fiend is going to fly up away from Delora. And is just going to point the spear down over at Aloysius.
Uh-oh.
And you watch as two rays of fire are shot out in Aloysius' direction. We're gonna see what happens with that. One is a tough choice, and the other one is success. So one of those will land, and that is going to be one fire ray just hits you dead on, Aloysius. So that's 4 damage.
Okay.
But as a result of doing that, I will let you pick. Do you want something to happen to their movement, or do you want something to happen? Do you want your allies to be in a better position to help?
My allies.
Okay. With that being the case, the other one also manages to hit you, so that's another 4 damage.
Ooh.
But as that's happening, Delora, you notice that there is this jewel in one of the back portions of the armor.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be vibrating with energy that's emanating out whenever the spear lets out the flames.
Okay.
It seems to be of something very important and a very highly magical nature. So that is information that you are aware of.
Cool.
So, end of that round. Next round. Who's up first?
Can I get out of this thing, please?
Yes. You can get out of the massive cube. If you would like. If you're trying to attack with it, it'll be a d20 to see whether or not you can break through. Or are you trying to do something else?
I kind of want to like find my way to the ceiling, plant my feet on the ceiling, and like jump off so I can jump right onto the fiend.
Do it. Roll d20. I'm going to say that this is going to be the whole of your movement to try and plunge. Do something depending on how well it goes.
17.
It's I don't know how to best describe this. It's like a Tasmanian devil like moment of just Rahul just like clawing out of the center of this cube and just having to use movement. you're not quite in range, but you are literally, for the cinematic and dramatic effect of it, you burst out of the cube. Like, it just recoils because the noxious nature of that effect that Dawn hit it with is just like, and it just lets go of you. It was going to hold you on for longer, but the Nox effect just basically, it's so sick, it can't hold more than what it already has, and it already looks like it's going to let go of more people as as time passes. But you leap out of it, and you are now hanging on one of the chandeliers above the table, ready, like in range of the fiend. Like, the fiend flew up to just try and like get an aerial view, and now it's like, what?
Can I make an attack?
All of that took the action and the movement to try and do, because you had to break out of
perfectly fine.
But also, you just literally just burst out of a gelatinous cube and are hanging on a chandelier. It's like, hello. Hello there. Delora, Aloysius, Dawn, what do you do now?
Am going to say, oh, what a nice magical jewel you have on your back there. And then I am going to perform Scintillate, which I have to roll, but it is an attack, and I'm going to direct it. I'm going to stretch out my fingers and direct a bolt of energy directly to that jewel.
Okie doke.
Let's see.
Scintillate.
That was 12.
That is, yeah, that's a success. You watch as the bolt hits it. There is this sudden, like, scream from the fiend as they just start, like, howling in pain. And you watch as the spear that they have, the energy radiating out of it, the flame energy, it's not as potent as it was before. And that blast, which normally would do 2 damage, it does double, hitting the jewel.
Ooh.
So you just knocked off 4 health from one shot. It's going. They're not doing so well right now.
And I'm not moving. I'm just like looking at the jewel.
Dawn, Aloysius.
I get up and could I use Cosmopolitan to pretend to be that I'm a fiend in disguise, and I'm a higher authority, like in the hierarchy than they are, and like order them to like cease and desist. This is unauthorized activity on display.
Wonderful.
I wanted to kill it. Aww.
And I'll say something like only fiends would know.
I'd say.
Okay, I need to. I'm going to read this ability. You're an expert in the study of cosmopolitan cultures, particularly in cities and nations. You need a mannerism, or describe a mannerism, a fiendish customary greeting, or mannerism. This is so ridiculous as an idea, I'm gonna let it go through, but I need, what does this look like? Are you okay, let me be clear. Are you saying this to the fiend?
Yes.
Or okay. This is one of the most ridiculous ideas someone has ever presented in my nearly 2 years of running games at a table.
Brilliant. I
love it so much.
And like they can see like the makeup on my face is falling off, so you know.
Oh, that helps sell it. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. What is this? What do you say, or what is this mannerism to try and sell it? So ridiculous. I'm still dying inside over how ridiculous this idea is, but I love it so much. If not, I could come up with something if you're having trouble coming up with anything. Because you said
I'll say something like, I'll say like the Uh,
You could just say, I am above you, cut it the fuck out, or something like that.
yeah, but I'm trying to think of like something like a saying that fiends would say.
That's true. Well, we could just say, you come up with a fiendish saying, whatever it is. It's your call.
Let's say,
You got something?
we will break the dawn.
Curious what Dawn thinks of that phrasing. Just like, what?
But not
Excuse me.
not
Excuse me. What?
It's like when the fiend's looking away, you suddenly have to turn over to Dawn. It's like, no, not you, not you. Not you. There's a look of just palpable confusion in the fiend's face. Does not know how to react in this moment, but the hostility is not gone, but is entirely distracted and does not seem hostile towards you. Just sort of seems very like, what the fuck just happened? Wait, that can't no, like, is doing one of those kinds of expressions and reactions. So that is your action to do that. But
Yep.
from what you can sense, the fiend is no longer antagonistic towards you.
Got it.
Okay, Dawn, do you want to follow that up?
Probably not as wacky, but I was just gonna run up to get a little closer to the fiend and
It's flying up.
take a. Oh, okay, well, still try to get close and use a crossbow because I'm not really. I feel like where I'm at, I
Yeah,
need
you're
to
still
get a
down
little
the ground, but
closer.
you could still, yeah, because ranged weapons have a pretty long distance. You can
Okay.
be as far away. So take the shot. Dawn, roll that at advantage because the
Nice.
fiend is so disoriented by this that you get advantage.
That's so funny.
Just like there's like almost this response, like in Aloysius, you're hearing this telepathically communicated to you. I've been casing this place for nearly 2 months. I've never been called back to the fiendish plains in over 60 years. I've never been called back in an assignment. What did you roll on?
13.
It's like, why would they be calling me? Ow! They're not doing so well, and also that jewel it's cracked all along its form now. It's like this big old like red ruby that's it looks like it's almost leaking out power now. And Rahul, by the way, for next round, you can see that jewel's broken on its back. Like it's been moving, or he's been moving around in so much confusion that you can see the jewel leaking on his
Sweet.
back.
However, I believe it's their turn.
It would be, except you brought out Arthur,
Right.
Nice.
Oh,
and Arthur, as weird as he is also a mage, specifically a wizard.
Nice.
nice.
Ooh, nice.
You see him from beneath the robes pull out this very thin, it looks like if moss got hardened and you know how with like woodwork sort of stuff, like fine tuning it, like carving it and like refining it down to like certain points. It looks as though if you had moss become one of those, like a long, almost like spindly wand. Like, get out of my house. And he points it at the cube. And he casts, for anyone who's curious, he casts Last Light on it.
Wait, which one is that?
Last Light's an evocation under the wizard.
Oh no.
You might want to take a look at what it says. Flash, I will read it out to you. You must be holding a pointed object like a wand, staff, or a sword to use the spell. You momentarily channel the beam of focused light in a straight line to target, dealing 6 damage.
Damn.
You brought out the mage. You saved him, whether by accident or intention. He may be a fancy pants, but he ain't exactly a weakling either. At least not.
I'm down.
And you see the cube, when the light goes through it, it's almost like... You ever seen a pot of water that is like going full boiling? Like it started at like low simmer, and then now like it's like the minute in between where you look away and it's like, it still needs some time to start boiling over. And then you look back and it's like already starting to go like chaotically like bubbling.
Yeah.
The center of it just started doing that. And it just... There's just like 2 tendrils just sort of there, and it's still alive, but barely. And Renee, Selfie, and Alden are fallen out of the cube at this point.
Oh no.
They get hurt from falling, but they're alive.
That's what matters.
Whatevs.
Traumatizing, sizzling, acidic, gelatinous substance
Yeah.
on you, but you're alive.
Yeah. Dropping is no big deal.
I also have sizzling stuff all over me.
You
Don't hear
sound
me complaining.
I'm currently covered in like acidic substance that's boiling my skin, and you don't see me complaining.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Fighting instead.
But it is now both of their turns. The fiend is looking at the door. Out of here. And is also looking at their very now shabbily placed armor, as that hit from to their back hurt a lot and it ruined a lot of their armor. They are just gonna try, they're gonna flee after this, but they're just gonna like try and be like, at least I can take one of you. And he's gonna try and stab Rahul. 2 attacks.
Me? Come on.
I mean, you're the one who wanted to do the epic Assassin's Creed chandelier hopping to try and stab it.
Leap of faith.
You'll be delighted to know that only one of those hits, though, because the second one was a 2.
Oh.
So I'm going to let the party decide what is the setback here for this individual as they're trying to stab Rahul. And be like, ah.
May I?
Yeah, well, if you have an idea, go for it. Go for it.
So instead of like trying to defend myself, I open my hands wide and let him stab me so the claw can scrape against one of his wings and the dagger can push into the other to just destroy them. So now he's on the floor and can no longer fly.
It's like a yell of triumph, and the wings, you just see it collapse right next to Aloysius. It's just like, must get out. And is now was going to fly, is now crawling towards the door. By the way, Raoul, you took 4 damage from the spear just going into you.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine.
I've taken 4 damage. You don't hear me complain.
What's damage? Why are you counting numbers for damage? It's like, don't worry about it. The 4th wall is over there. We'll deal with it later. But yeah, it's the party's turn. The cube barely around.
I can take a sneak attack.
Yeah, actually you can because
That's
God
only-
damn!
I
What
wouldn't
the
have called
hell?
it. I wouldn't have called it, but if they were still flying up in the air, but because of the setback, he's now on the ground, so he's right next to you. So roll it to see if you can finish it.
That's nuts.
No, I got a 3.
Oh.
Oh boy. So that's a setback.
Is it a consequence? Yup.
Yep.
So I'm like shooting my crossbow at like point blank range. Like,
Oh,
So
right.
you want something to happen to you or something to happen to someone else?
I'll go with me.
I mean, how much damage have you taken? You only have 10 hit points.
8.
I'm taking 8.
Oh, bloody hell.
I'm taking 8 damage. You don't hear me complaining.
This one's going to be, pretty soon I'm knocked out and you don't hear me complain.
I'm dead, and you don't hear me complaining.
That one actually got me. It legit got me. Damn it.
Damn it.
The arrow in the mechanism malfunctions and it just like, ow, I've accidentally hit myself in the boob. Oh, that happened. Anyways, it's fine. It's fine. I hit myself in the boob. You don't hear me complaining.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, the arrow, unfortunately, the arrow does go through though, and it does 2 damage. So you are.
Oh,
So this is.
Oh, come on.
So this is not territory I've been in before with a player.
Oh,
I'm
goodness.
gonna have to go double check.
Death, 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 death.
Thankfully, the way this works is that you don't actually die. You are just knocked unconscious right now by your own crossbow bolt.
okay.
It's if someone else hits you when you're down, and then we roll to see, depending on how much damage you take. If you roll, I think, let me double check, it's below. If you roll at or below the damage you take, you die.
Ah,
So there's a very low chance of you dying,
yeah.
but you know.
But
But it's the party's turn. Both the fiend is trying to run away and the cube is not holding on to anything. What are you doing?
Should I just jump down onto the fiend and stab my dagger into its gem?
That'll
I
work.
mean, if you want to
Do
be
it.
a badass, sure.
here comes another Assassin's Creed moment.
Uh,
I am the Cassandra now. That's a 7.
so it
So
succeeds.
not Cassandra. No.
Beginner Cassandra.
Alexios.
It's Alexios.
So, does anyone want to add details? Because we're getting near the tail end of things. What this looks like, what the comedic element to Rahul successfully finishing off the fiend is, because it looks glorious until X happens.
I'm
What's the
assuming
X factor?
he's trying to swing and time it perfectly, but he miscalculates, and so he clumsily falls off, and he's trying to catch himself, but he has the dagger in his hand, and he just so happens to fall in the perfect spot. And it's just
I like that. Yes, I like it. He tries to. He tries to start it very cool, but then it's ugh!
The stumble stab.
Stumbles down, but just happens to stab. Yes.
And Rahul's
Yeah,
mind looks glorious.
I think he's lucky enough to get the dagger down, and it still looks kind of cool until he miscalculates the fall, and suddenly he's rolling halfway across the room, just leaving blood and goo behind him.
It's like,
Oh,
aha!
Yeah. Oh no!
Oh no!
So, okay, that's Rahul's glorious defeat of the fiend, which the last words you hear from the fiend are, "His wealth was to be mine. I will return." And as the jewel breaks, it's just smell of cinder and smoke left behind and sulfur. There's the remnants of a gelatinous cube still after somebody. Anyone want to finish that off? Just suggestion.
Try to do scintillate again and see if I can hit it. Oh no, that was a 3. That was bad. That was a 3.
Something happens to the room or something happens to you.
I'll say me. Yeah, I'll say me.
You fire it off, and it has that. I don't know if anyone recalls the first Men in Black movie where Agent J touches the weird bouncy thing that just ping pongs all around the room. Yeah. Your scintillate magic does one of those. It just goes.
Oh
no. Delora, which guest does it hit?
Oh no. I'll say. Oh no. I'll say Alden.
It looks like Alden's like pulling out a pair of like short swords and he's about to like stab into the thing, and then he just turns around and he's you just see him get knocked out. Like he's not unconscious.
Oh no!
He just gets disoriented by it. But yeah.
Oh
my gosh! I'm so sorry.
Dawn, Dawn, you want to try something to the cube?
Yeah, I will. I want to go back to nearby range again, and I will try to touch a part of it, and and I will use corrupt and necrotic damage to it. It's 1 HP now, but then, well, if it gets to the next turn, another 1 HP. So
yeah, for the sake of time and brevity, this thing is hurt enough that it just like it's like
shrivels up.
It just slowly just melts in a little pool of like sludge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and the party. I know, Dawn, did you take anything healing, Dawn? Or the doctor, but it doesn't automatically mean you picked anything healing.
Right.
I do, but it can't be in battle.
No, you're out of battle now.
Yeah, I can heal people.
Yeah, so you would be able to go to Aloysius.
Yeah, I'm going to Aloysius. I restore 5 HP.
Oh, cool.
You're back.
Nice.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So, that crossbow bolt, huh?
Yep.
He says, yep.
That's the answer. Yep.
It's like this has happened before, I'm sure.
And then I just walk away and go to the next person.
Yeah, you're able, it takes a little bit of time, but you're able to check in with everybody. Folks are hurt. Alden is very angry because it looks as though he had figured out what was going on. Like you see, like the last note within his book is just like, wait, I've heard of this before. It's a gelatinous. And then it's like didn't get to write the second word and then got pulled up. But you hear Arthur Brookhaven like gets up and checks in with everyone, and you find searching through the area in the observatory. It takes some time. You rest up and you find that if we'd had the time to do it, there were 2 what look like shadow-like beings that were about to leap out at the party should they have gone into that room.
Oh no.
But Arthur, being aware of everything, it's just like, it's like in that like I'm done. Like all of the pleasant demeanor is just kind of like, get out of my house now towards all the things. And you do actually find the shadow beings almost like a living, like the shadowy husk or shell around them, the groundskeepers are there.
Oh no.
Ooh.
And unfortunately, it seems as though, for all intents and purposes, it looks as though the butler as well had suffered a similar fate. But nevertheless, Arthur does inform you that he will likely use what contacts he has in order to try and bring them back. Now that he's aware of what happened to them. And he gives a very strong thanks to everyone's efforts in dealing with this menace, as he realizes that this was a shape changer fiend known for often serving agents, particularly much stronger fiends of duplicitous nature. They specialize in sort of usurping various places of esteem and such, and so because of that, he was likely targeted for his wealth, and more than anything, they love to bring down pillars of the community, which Arthur, with all of his access to wealth and such, was using all of it in order to try and support a lot of local initiatives that would have helped a lot of people. So Arthur being usurped in some capacity would have been a death knell to a lot of the local communities. But as thanks for helping him, you watch as much of the manor is, during a later point, not sold off, then a lot of the assets are given towards more communal measures. And you watch as he also helps create a few other theaters in nearby cities, of which, should she be interested,
Yeah.
top billing is given to Delora.
Woo.
And there's a few other items of intrigue for Dawn, for Raoul, and Aloysius as well. There's a keen dagger that he keeps that's very easy to hide and very good for less than savory purposes. And there is a few concoctions that he's able to get a few alchemist friends of his to help make that might prove useful in studyings of healing and such. And he's not quite certain what to get Aloysius, but he basically just says, "Name your price," and I'll do what I can. But
the Aloysius disguise is gone. Now it's
what was beneath the disguise? I'm genuinely curious. Real quick, while we have a second.
It's this 23-year-old person named Larentia.
Ooh.
But you don't. But the party doesn't know if that's their true identity or just another disguise. So
It's just disguises all the way down.
Like an onion, just like peeling all the time.
You throw away one disguise and another one appears again. But with all the hubbub calmed down and with the party compensated, tickets given, a few messages of a more personal nature given out to at least Rahul for conversation later with Selfie, and Dawn also receives one from Renee. Delora as well. Arthur wishes you off as you have solved the mystery of Brookhaven Manor. It was a fiend in disguise. It was the butler all the time.
it was the butler.
This time it was the butler. But
Truly
we're reaching the end of our time. It's a little bit of a time crunch, but got it all in. Had to skip through a couple of other fun things for that. But that is Mystery at Brookhaven Manor, and that is the Quest RPG system. It's a little bit of chaotic combat, a little bit of ridiculous RP with your characters, who I love all of you so much. But yeah, we'll get into that as this is the end of our time, and we have to do real quick plugs, outros. Quick, reintroduce yourself, and as we're doing our shout out, and schedule change moving forward. Will be, as a note for folks who are watching, Game Roulette, as we've said before, is moving from Wednesdays to Thursdays at this time slot. it's bi-weekly, but we'll alternate with Palette. And once everyone does their quick outros, we'll be rating, I believe the one's going to be Margaret Catter TV.
Hey.
We support our
Hey.
friends. We support
the
our
opposite
friends and
direction.
our yeah. Yes, opposite direction. We support
Opposite
our friends here. Yeah. So which means wait, who was last?
Adam Ali.
Adam Ali, that means you first.
Hello, my name is Adam Ali. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me online at Werewolf Feels on Twitter, and you can find whatever I'm busy doing there. That being said, there are 2 projects that I'm working on an ongoing basis. You can catch me every 3rd Saturday of the week on Asians Represents Twitch channel, where I critically read Al-Qadim with some wonderful folks, despite the fact it's not a wonderful book. Every other Wednesday, so next Wednesday, I'm on Off the Tables Twitch channel playing the Burn Bunch, where I play a werewolf, and honestly, it's a great Monster of the Week campaign you should watch.
Excellent. Next up.
I am Ray. My pronouns are she, her, and you can find me on Twitter at Ray Transitional. Most of my projects and stuff are offline, but if you want to see what I'm up to, just follow me on Twitter, and you can see my smiling face. Sometimes around Huetopia, sometimes around some other places.
It's always a pleasure to watch Ray or to have Ray in a group. You will not be disappointed. Have her in more games. Next up.
Tinga-tee.
Oh, I'm Ting, and you can find me online at DTing1000 on Twitter. Every Tuesday, I'll be on the Nerds with Dice playing Rift's Battle of the Fates.
Excellent. Kevin's good peoples. And last but not least, Kupo.
Hello, I am Kupo Knight, but you can call me Kupo. My pronouns are they, them, and you can find me at my own Twitch channel, Kupo_Knight, where I play a variety of games, usually with a story, and I get to just hang out with awesome folks like these people and everyone in chat. And hopefully more cool people. So the next time I stream should be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll be The next time I stream is tomorrow, Friday and Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard. So that's it. And thank you so much, Angela. I love whodunit. So we found out whodunit.
Yeah.
I'm glad y'all were able to get through this. Had a little time crunch, but I was excited to share this little one-shot idea I've had. I'm Angela, otherwise known as Phoenix24Fem on Twitter, or the Philosophem on Patreon, where I am a professional poet and writer. And I'm currently, in terms of stream projects, going to be involved with something else with Huetopia sooner or later. And also, I'm occasionally here for Palette or for our game Roulette. And also on Mondays, you can find me over on the Heroes Without Limits channel at 2 p.m. EST for a stream of me running this system more extensively for a new group of folks in my first homebrew setting, World of Agni, for Plains of Providence, where I have a very thirsty group of people really wanting fae and emissaries from elemental planes. So that's the thing I have to look forward to. It's amazing. It's fun. And also, if you want to catch some of my other writings, you can look at Disability Rights Washington for my blog posts that have happened there some time ago, or Art for Ourselves, and all QTPOC publication devoted to supporting folks in creative fields and such. And I talk about a lot of different things. And I think our Summer Equinox issue is coming out shortly, where I just talk a lot about The Last of Us 2 and just kind of sigh a lot about trans representation stuff. But
Oh boy.
and I'm also a musician for hire. If you're looking for songs to be created for you, whether for a TTRPG campaign, home or streamed, or for a website, I'm available for that. And I'm one half of the Queerly Yours Relationship podcast with my partner, where my partner and I, who are both trans, we're an interracial couple and polyamorous, we talk a lot about relationships. That is everything. Whew. I believe I've already said Margaret Catter TV is who we're going to be rating, so I think we'll switch that over if our producer will let us know if we're all good with that. So yeah, so thank you so much. All right, our
So,
producer
yeah.
is giving us the okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Blessings to you all. Much love, and have a wonderful evening and the rest of your
Bye.
week.